Welcome everyone, this is James Rise going to bring you, special ladies and gentlemen, a new video today. And today we're going to talk about, do vegans have better sex? I'm going to talk about myself personally and the changes I've seen versus being a meat eater versus just being a plant eater. So I have been a vegan for a little over 2 years, coming up in 3 next year, in I think March. Yeah, March. So I've been a meat eater for 25 years. So I could tell you the differences between how I felt during sex and how I looked appealing, my aesthetics, how I looked. When I was a meat eater, my muscles I felt like they were a bit fluffy. Like I was, bulking, but I really wasn't bulking. I was eating right foods, I was still looking cut, but I wasn't as cut as I am now, versus now I'm eating more calories per day, and I'm stronger, and I could, I look better. My muscles are defining better, versus, how I was as a meat eater. So I could be lean, be cut up, and still lift heavy, and still gain muscle. Isn't that more appealing to the eye than someone, who could lift as heavy as I am, but, it's a little fluffy, has a gut, has, the muscles look fluffy? I don't think that's appealing. But that's just the differences I saw. I didn't realize that I looked that way until I, saw how I look now, and just realized that, wow, I look better. My body looks better, I feel better. It translates there. If you feel great, if your body feels great, it's going to look great. But of course, you just got to work for it. But sex, I'm not saying the differences between, performance was different. I'm sure the sensations are the same, but I'm talking about the cum shot. The orgasm, I'm going to call it. The orgasm is clearly different between a meat eater and my point of view. This is all my point of view. This is just me saying it. I'm not saying this involves anyone or everyone. I'm just talking about my personal experience. The orgasm, the big O, was completely different when I was a meat eater versus a plant eater. When I was a meat eater, the orgasm, it fluctuated. Sometimes I have a huge orgasm, sometimes it was just like not enough, it was specks, and I realized certain foods would make it worse or make it better, but ultimately it would just fluctuate. The certain foods that would make it better, this maybe wasn't on its game that day. But so, like, for example, when I ate when I consumed whey protein, terrible, wasn't consistent. When I ate turkey, terrible, wasn't consistent. So those are my main two where I saw like it wasn't as good as it could be, the orgasm. But when I went to plant-based proteins, when I plant-based diet, pea protein was this heaven sent. I'm gonna talk about the volume of it was clearly more potent than being a meat eater, and that's consistent through it. I'm sure if of course, if you get enough rest, stuff like that, all those alter, but consistently, it's way better being a plant-based versus being a meat eater, where it's inconsistent with the orgasm. I mean, isn't a great orgasm make you better at sex or enjoy sex more? You gotta think about that. I mean, if you have okay orgasm, that's just okay sex, I would think. I'm not sure how this applies to women, but women, if you are vegan and you have been a meat eater in the past, let me know how the orgasms changed, if they're better or they're worse. I'm just talking about my personal experience with sex and with the orgasm. It's how you feel. If you feel great, I'm sure you're going to have a better orgasm. You're going to have better sex. Versus just feeling crummy and heavy and your belly's just all wrecked from all the bad food that you're eating. It's gonna leave you heavy versus being light and free, and your mental state is clear, and then you just go in and have a good time. You gotta think to yourself, the foods that you eat affect you. And when they affect you, and if you're having sex, that's gonna affect you. It's gonna translate to that. Don't think it's not. So, see what you eat and see how you perform. See how your orgasm is. Just ever since I went vegan, I've been very in tune with my body. I've been able to realize what works and what doesn't. Versus when I was, a meat eater, I just, consumed, meat proteins and just, thought that's how I was supposed to feel. But being a vegan really opened my eyes and seeing what really worked for me and what foods made me feel awesome and made me feel energized and made me feel great. We are what we eat, everybody. It's going to affect us. If you have a crappy cheat meal, you're going to feel crappy. Don't say you're not. If you don't feel crappy, then you're just eating crappy food all the time, and that's the way that you think you're going to feel, or you're supposed to feel all the time. No. You're supposed to feel great. I have realized that. And looking back, I'm like, I can't believe I went through life thinking I was supposed to feel that way. I'm not saying it felt crappy, but it didn't feel great as I feel right now. Light, not as heavy in the guts. My muscles are stronger. I can lift heavier. I look better. And I'm able to do more things. I'm able to recover quicker. So of course that's going to translate into the bedroom or whatever you do. It's going to affect you because that's part of you. That release, that orgasm, that affects you. Okay. Well, that's just my spiel. Try it out. See what you eat. See how it affects you. And try different things. Experiment. See what works for you. What works for me is not gonna maybe not work for you. Experiment things. Also, pea protein has helped a lot. Plant-based protein, pea protein mainly has really helped me feel energized and feel great, along with healthy eating, whole foods, and stuff like that. Well, that supplement has definitely helped me, feel awesome. Rice protein, not so much. Made me feel heavy. As you guys, know in the past, if you guys watch these videos, you guys know I'm not too big of a fan of rice protein. I am a fan if you supplement, rice and pea together. So that's it, guys. Do vegans have better sex? You tell me. How's your diet? Until next time, guys, stay risen.